Hello, welcome one and all to Jamie's Sideline podcast with me, Jamie Messner, and of course, my beautiful co-host Lori.
Hello.
We're going to be talking playoff football. We're going to be talking last week of regular season football, and it is make it or break it time for some teams. Some teams are sitting comfortably in a playoff spot. We're going to make a few predictions here. Feel free to do it in the side chat as well. And we might give it up to some people so that they can make their predictions. So this will be a good show. This will be a nice show tonight. So let's cover the first week of football first. Like I said, I only do the most important games or what we feel are the most important games because there's some games that are really important and then there's others that you can kind of just forget about. One game that I did want to mention, since it's important for my team, the Steelers, to get into the playoffs, are the Bills and Jets. So the Bills are a struggling team this year under new head coach Rex Ryan. And the Jets, well, right now they're sitting comfortably in the last wild card spot. So, Lori, how do you feel about the Jets? Will they overtake the Steelers for the last playoff spot? What's going to go down? Give me your prediction.
Oh, well, I'd have to say I think the Steelers are going to take it.
All right. The Jets do look strong, but I'd have to agree with you. The Jets will lose this game to push Steelers further in contention. One thing that also has to happen for the Steelers to win that last wild card spot is not only do they have to win their game, but the Chiefs have to lose their game. Now, the Steelers are facing the Browns last week of football at home against the Browns, or I believe at home against the Browns. The Browns are also a struggling team. So I feel like the Steelers are going to take this game to further push them. So first, we got 2 out of the 3 things away. But first, I wanted to get my prediction in, which is Browns 10, Steelers 16. So it's going to be a close game. Lori, what's your thoughts?
How about 3-9 for the Steelers?
Okay, so much closer game, but that's all right. We like close games on the show because. So
close games make for good football.
Yeah. So the last game of the week, and then the Chiefs have to lose their game. They have to lose their game against the Raiders, and then the Steelers are sitting in the last wild card spot. Now, the Raiders have pulled it together, or somewhat pulled it together, in these last couple games of the season. Even though most of them have been losses, they've figured out a way to put more points on the board, and they're a much more improved team versus the team we saw in the few first weeks of NFL football. So, do you think the Raiders will take it, or do you think the Chiefs will come and take out the Raiders?
I think that the Chiefs are going to take it.
All right, so the Chiefs are going to take it, which will push Pittsburgh out of the playoffs. But that's okay because there's always next year, even if that does happen. I feel like the Raiders are going to battle it close, and then it's going to go into overtime, and the Raiders are going to pull off a shocker. Or it's going to come down to one last field goal. They're going to kick it in, and they're going to win the game, further pushing the Steelers into the playoff spot. Now, the Raiders can't get into the playoffs themselves. They're already long gone from that standpoint. But, like I said, there's always next year. Furkan, don't be crying too hard. Speaking of that, I'm really excited to announce real quick that we will try. I'm in contact with Furkan to see if we'll do a show. Obviously, he couldn't make it today because today was kind of craziness and I had to reschedule and stuff like that. But hey, stuff happens. So hopefully next week or the week after next week, the first show of 2016 will be a big one, and we'll have Blab, Chief Technical Officer, covering some football with us. So that'll be nice.
That would be sweet.
Hopefully, we'll have that squared away. But another game I wanted to get to. The Panthers lost against the Falcons in a nail-biter last week. Now, the Panthers are already well into a playoff spot, so they don't have to worry about it. Win or lose, they're in the playoffs. But to solidify themselves even further, they have, for the last game, the Buccaneers. Now, my prediction is that they're going to blow out, and it is going to be an absolute blowout of a game, 20-0 Panthers, just to further solidify how much of a threat they are in the playoffs. What's your stance, Lori?
I like your prediction of 20-0. I'd like to see that.
Well, it might happen. I mean, the Buccaneers, they are not the best of teams in the league this year, and things like that. Another game that has major playoff contentions. Well, it doesn't have major playoff contentions because win or lose, they're already in the playoffs. But we have Cardinals and Seahawks for the last week of regular season football. Cardinals already comfortably in a playoff spot. Seahawks are almost there too. I think that the Cardinals are going to win 16-3. Again, to further solidify why they are in the NFL football playoffs. So what's your opinion, Lori? Will they take the win, or will they have a shocker of a loss and then?
I think they're going to take the win.
Okay. So, but even if they do win or lose, like I said, the Cardinals are still sitting comfortably in a playoff spot, and they'll get lots of rest because they're on a bye week for, I think, the first week of playoffs. They don't play the game. They don't play a game. But then I think, I don't know, I'll have to look at the playoff schedule, and we'll have a complete breakdown of the NFL playoffs next Wednesday when those schedules get released. So the Broncos and Chargers. Broncos, I think, have clinched the playoff spot. Don't get me wrong. Don't quote me on that one. I should have read up on it. But anyways, the blunders of running a show, right? Can't get everything. Can't get everything right on the ball. But they have, they're basically sitting pretty comfortably. I think they're in the playoffs, and win or lose against the Chargers this week, I really don't think it would matter for them because I've heard from other people that they think the Denver Broncos are a strong candidate for the Super Bowl. But we will see on that one. We will see. Only time will tell, right? So the Green Bay Packers and the Minnesota Vikings, I think Green Bay is in a playoff spot, or they're either on the outside looking to clinch a wild card. I don't know. Maybe Lori can update me. It's okay if she can't, but I don't know either.
You know what? Lori's had a busy couple of weeks, but I will find out.
I'll look it up real quick. I'll look up if they're. Hold on. Sometimes you got to do things on the fly, people, and sometimes running a show is harder than it seems. So if you want to run a show, you're going to have to run into some last minute things. So you're going to have to bear with me here. Here, let me look up their divisional record to see, or maybe someone in the chat can tell me if there's anybody in the chat still. Can someone tell me if the Green Bay Packers are in the playoffs or they're looking into the playoffs. Because I know there's one other person here, so maybe he's looking it up. It all
comes down to this week.
It all comes down to this week. So after we figured that blunder out, sorry about that blunder, but you know what? I'm still gonna leave it in just to show how hard it is to run a sports show. So it all comes down to this week: Green Bay versus the Vikings. Green Bay will take it 10-3.
No, I like the 20-0 on this one, but that's
you're gonna go with another 20-0. So it's gonna be Buccaneers and Panthers 20-0, and Green Bay and Vikings 20-0.
I said that's what I'd like to see.
Yeah, I mean, you're a Green Bay fan, so we'd all like to see it. I mean, I'd like to see Pittsburgh win it.
The Steelers just by a landslide.
But that probably won't happen. But you can always hope, right? So,
yes.
I think we've covered. I may be mistaken, but I think we've covered.
Oh, wait. Correction came in. Green Bay are in, but the division title is on the line.
Oh, okay. Correction there. Correction. I don't follow every team in the league, guys. I know. I'm a sports podcaster, and I don't follow every team in the league. No, I don't do that. So
Vikings have also clinched.
Okay.
So both of them are
so
in the
both
playoffs.
of them are in the playoffs. You know, it was not clear whether it's not clear to me. I would assume this would be a pretty far, like the Green Bay Packers would win this game pretty handily. But we don't know how their team morale is going into last week and getting blown out by the Cardinals. So we don't really know how their team morale is. But you can always ask Lori here, who's probably distraught right now after she saw that game.
Distraught? You know what? I didn't even see the game, and I'm distraught. The Vikings are not going to win.
Yeah, the Vikings won't win, but you never know. Any given Sunday, that's the motto. Hey Ricky, what's up? What's up, my man? So this is the time of the show where I'd like to kind of give it over to people who would like to make some predictions. We did cover the Buffalo game. We said that I'd like to see Buffalo win because the Jets have to lose, the Kansas City Chiefs have to lose, and the Steelers have to win in order to get a playoff berth after that blunder against the Ravens. But we'll forget about that. We'll just erase that from our memories. And I'm just kidding. We can't do that. I
last week's
I can't really erase that memory. That's kind of like a nightmare, not a memory. But but anyways, does anybody else want to jump in the seat and make predictions, or make predictions from the side comments? Let me know. If you don't, that's okay. I'll just keep talking.
Buffalo doesn't have a chance.
Buffalo doesn't have a chance. Okay. So that screws up my playoff hopes. But like I said,
there's always next year.
And guess what? We already have 6 titles. So you can't say that the Steelers aren't a good team, because they did play pretty decently this year. I mean, they had a few blunders here and there with Ben Roethlisberger getting hurt a couple times, John calling him Ben Hurtlesberger. So, but you know what? Who knows? It's always hard to. I feel like it's always hard to have some type of podcast during these times, because you never want to predict because you don't know, but you also want to predict because you have to have a show out to your listeners. But so it's
the Steelers are so close.
It's hard. It's hard to it's hard to be non-biased because I went into this being a Pittsburgh fan, and I will always be a Pittsburgh fan. So it's kind of hard not to root for your team, but you got to try and be as unbiased as possible. But that's kind of hard sometimes. And I don't follow every team in the league to be clean, to come clean. And not many sports podcasters do. They most of them read this stuff last minute. I kind of have preparation where I've studied the games and see and predict before the show, or I try to as best as possible. But anyways, enough of me rambling on. Let me tell you some exciting news. We are doing very well in the space of YouTube.com. You can always subscribe to me over there to see these podcasts. YouTube.com/Jamie's Sideline Podcast. If you missed a podcast, you can always go over there. We're doing very well. We're on the cusp of about 1,000 views per all of our videos. So we are doing pretty handily over there. I'd like to see a couple more subscribers, but people can do what they want, and can't force them to do it. So, but if you are so kind, you could.
Do you have the link for the YouTube channel?
I will. I'll drop a link right now.
Yeah, great.
All right, so that everybody can see these podcasts if they missed a podcast. I do post some extra bonus content on there that doesn't have to do with sports sometimes. Sometimes it does. And I do post interview trailers and all that sort of stuff. We're doing very good. So
wonderful.
So hopefully you guys can support the channel. Other than that, you can always contact me on Twitter at best_pod_cast. And let me tell you, next week will be a pretty big show, because let me tell you something. This is the last show of 2015. This is the last show. This is it, guys. So, Happy New Year, This is
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Because I didn't have a show on Christmas. Because, holidays take over. You realize you wake up one morning, you realize it's almost Christmas, and you realize you got to spend time with your family instead of doing I'm just kidding. I like spending time with my family.
Tim Gillette says Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Tim. Here's the link to my YouTube channel. As always, you can always catch me live on Blab here every Wednesday. I usually don't do shows this late, but craziness happen. Things happen. So, can't avoid some things. Make sure you guys also like, comment, subscribe on all the videos on YouTube. You can catch up with me on Twitter if you'd like to maybe schedule an interview, maybe get yourself on the show. ... Air quotes, please do.
Yeah.
But anyways, you can catch me on Twitter at best_pod_cast. I'm always happy to connect with listeners. From me and Lori, Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy what other holidays are there? Happy I don't know. I'm rambling. Happy holidays. And I hope
Happy Festivus says, and the same to you.
Whatever holiday you celebrate, or whatever holiday you did celebrate, it is a good one. And I hope 2016 brings you lots of good. From me and Lori, from Arizona, peace out. And Illinois, peace out.